Morning on my YouTubers and my blue collar workers. Hope everybody out there having a good day. Getting this bag. Figure I'll just make a little video. I had a couple little things I was thinking about. Somebody had asked me to make a video on the apprentice process. I'm not really exactly sure what that means, to be honest. Like there's a couple different ways I could take that. So I'm gonna touch on that a little bit in the video. Also, I was on a UA page yesterday, and there was a question from somebody, a plumber, asking about what it would take for a plumber to get on as a fitter, or to get, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure if he was trying to be a plumber and a fitter at the same time. I'm not really sure, but there were some things that came up with that in the comments that kind of shed some perspective on where I'm at. So I think I'm gonna start with that. So basically, plumbers, and like, I ain't hating on no other trade. There's every trade got its place. They do different things. Plumbers and pipe fitters, we kind of do somewhat similar things that we deal with pipe, but I don't know. Up here in Minnesota, there's a saying that plumbers can't do what we do, but we can do what plumbers do. So in Minnesota, and this is where it kind of got into some things. So in Minnesota, we're like the highest licensed trade in the state. We carry 5 licenses. We carry low pressure, high pressure steam, gas and oil, refrigeration. So it's a lot. Like, you have to keep current on your licenses. Now, there's a retired fitter from my local had commented on that and said that we do have a lot of people that have organized in that don't have that. So every local is going to be different. So like, people that are watching in different places, obviously everybody's not from Minnesota. So as far as the requirements and what you're going to do as a pipe fitter, as far as the apprenticeship process, it's probably going to be a lot different in Minnesota. Like, we carry a lot of licenses. There were some guys on the UA page that they had never even heard of any of the licenses we have. So we have all our licenses are state and city licenses. And I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of a good thing that we have all them licenses. I get it, because that kind of guarantees the wages that we ask. So we also have one of the highest packages in the nation. So there's some other places that, like, right to work states and stuff like that, where they don't really have as strong of a union presence. I don't know why they don't try to push to get licensing for certain things, because if you think about it, like, we carry all these licenses, that's what the contractors want us to have. And so if we don't have them licenses, that it makes it easier for non-union contractors to take our work, because the process of getting these licenses, like, that's the purpose of our 5-year apprenticeship, so that we can get the knowledge needed so we can pass these state license tests. If we don't take these tests, we don't take them at our training center, we go down to the state capitol and take these tests. So we have to be proficient enough to know that we can pass some tests. Not only that, we have to pay to take the test. I think it's like $150 a piece for them tests. I think it might even be more for the high pressure steam. I'm not 100% sure. That's 4th year and 5th year is when we take all our licenses. So having them licenses, basically, if we want to go work anywhere else in the country, it's pretty easy. They like taking guys from up here because we have that background, that knowledge. Some other states, they don't carry any licenses. Like, I don't know, it's crazy. We've had to have guys from this job go out and help on other jobs because they had their high pressure steam license, and for whatever reason, the person that was on that job didn't have one. I don't know if they had organized in and they didn't go through the process to getting it. I don't really understand how that works, but so that was kind of what had came up. Like, so I know people like to talk about, oh, union is lazy, union just gets all this extra money for nothing, but I can't speak for anybody else. I'm not hating on anybody else, whatever, but up here, there's a reason why we make the money we make, because we get that experience, we get them licenses, we stay current on our licenses, and we can also go for, when you're going to be a foreman or something, if you want to go get your master steam license, you can have other people that don't have a license work under you if you have your master. That's how I understand it. I may be wrong on that. I think maybe even if you just have your high pressure steam license, you can have people work under you. But There's a reason for the master. It's an extra test, and it's a little bit harder, but I'm probably gonna go for it after I get my steam license and stuff. Probably go for my masters, just because, like I said before in other videos, just another tool in the toolbox. So a lot of the stuff I talk about, I don't know if it's just not necessarily going to be the same. Like, you might be in another state going for your apprenticeship, and you might be like, man, this guy talking about all this stuff that we ain't got to do none of that. That's a good possibility. It might be like that. But all I can speak to is what I know. I'm not going to try to tell you something I don't know. Like, I'm not just going to be talking to be talking. So up here, this is how it is. So that gives us a pretty good market share as far as union and non-union work, because non-union, they really can't compete with the amount of training that we get here. Like, they would have to fund their own training center, I guess, to train non-union, and who's going to pay for that? So up here, that's what it is. Up here we have licenses that we carry, and that's that. So that it came up. I had never really heard that before, that there's other places that don't do that. So I know I have had that issue come up with. There's a couple guys that came up from Florida, and that's all they knew was how to weld, man. Like, they didn't know nothing else. They didn't know nothing about systems. They didn't know anything except for how to fit up pipe and weld pipe. That was it. They came from Florida, so I don't know what their training process is down there. Maybe they do know more, but them couple guys that was up here, like, that's all they wanted to do. They didn't do anything else. And as soon as the welding was pretty much done for them, they headed out. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Like, no matter where you go in to put in an apprenticeship, it may be a little bit different than what I'm telling you. I'm just telling you what we do up here. So then another thing had came up in the comments. People always asking me about HVAC. So I'm not really 100% sure what that means, because I know what HVAC means, but up here, HVAC is a couple different things. So, for instance, I'm a construction pipe fitter. So I primarily work on new construction. So if there's a new building, they're putting in a new system, putting in boilers, putting in a chilled water system, putting in steam piping or process piping in a new construction building, that's what I do. We also have, on the other side, we have our service side. So that's a completely different apprenticeship. It's a 5-year apprenticeship, but in order to get into that, I believe you have to do like a year of HVAC schooling prior to getting in as an apprentice. It's a little bit different. I know in St. Paul and 455, they're a little bit different, because you actually go through a school they send you to for a year before you start the apprenticeship program, and they cover a lot of that stuff. And then they make the determination on where you want to go. Once you're done with that first year of school, they make the determination on, do you want to go service or you want to go construction. In Minneapolis, when you go in to put in your application, you apply for one or the other. So you apply for construction, which you don't need a prior year of school, or you apply for service. Now, service guys, they primarily do like a lot of residential. So they'll be going into people's houses and fixing their residential systems. And then they also work on pre-existing systems, working, I don't know, just fixing stuff in a pre-existing system, or I don't know, setting stuff up. They do different stuff. Most of them guys get their own van, and they have, their contract is a little bit different on the way it works, because I think they're like, a lot of them guys are on call, whatever. I don't know. I'm not service, so I don't know as much. I just know that they're a little bit different than us, and when we go to union meetings, they tend to vote a little bit different than construction guys too, I noticed. But so that's that for HVAC. We have service and we have construction and pipe fitting. Now, we also have what we call the tinners, the sheet metal workers. They do like all the duct work. That's also considered HVAC, but it's not anything that we do. So we have like kind of clearly set lines on things that we do. We don't do other people's work. So we only do our work, which is piping from the boiler out. I think Boilermakers, they have a contract where they do everything on the inside of a boiler from the first flange in or something. I don't know. It's something we pretty much from the first flange out of a boiler out is all us. When it comes to all the duct work, any of the sheet metal work around any of the units, that's sheet metal workers. They do that. And then we also have the electricians. They wire up all the control valves, all the boilers, all the units that we put in to have any kind of electronic sensors. They wire that up. We put the sensors in, they wire them. We don't touch their stuff. They don't touch our stuff. Then we also have the insulators. They come through after we got our pipe up. They come insulate all the pipe. And I don't know that you would necessarily consider them HVAC, but I mean, it's still part of the system. Like, it's a team. It's not just one crew of people does the whole job. There's different people that specialize in certain things, and that's just how it is. And it kind of makes it so everybody has their place. Nobody takes each other's work. People have their training to specialize in whatever specific part that they do. So when people ask me about like how to get into HVAC, like a lot of times I don't really know how to respond to that, because HVAC is a couple different things, and it just depends on if you're talking about residential service, it might be a little bit different. But as far as from my standpoint in construction, tinners, they're I would consider them HVAC. Like, they do all the duct work and stuff. Like, that's a lot of people think about HVAC, that's what they think about. Now, pipe fitters, we don't do just heating and cooling. Like, we also do process piping, steam piping. I don't know. There's a lot of different stuff we do. So we do like for data centers and stuff. We'll do the piping for data centers and clean rooms. So there's multiple different things. Like I said, that's construction. That's what I'm in. That to me is the most interesting. I wouldn't want to be a service guy. That doesn't sound like a good time to me. So that's that. So now on to the part of the process of the apprenticeship. So I'm not really sure how that goes either. So I'll kind of break it down a little bit real quick. So when I got in, I was already a welder. I was welding in a couple different places, and I had been wanting to get into a welders union just because I felt like I was kind of capping out on the amount of money I was going to be able to make as a welder at a non-union job. And I'd always heard like, oh yeah, union makes more money. And I didn't know that much about union. Like, it really wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah, I need to be union. I had heard they made more money. So that was my first introduction to it. So one of my buddies that he had actually been in prison with me, he had told me like, hey, check out the pipe fitters union. We do welding, we do all kind of other stuff. But if this is where all the good welders are at. I'm like, all right, bet. So I went down there. For us, we take applications once a year. It's in January for like, I think it's a 2-week period that they accept applications. So you go down to for us, this is ours, how we do it. It might be a little bit different. Everybody, if you're somewhere else, you got to probably go online and look up the local pipe fitters union, if that's what you're interested in. Look them up and see if they got a website, and their website should have the information. If not, you can call down to their hall, ask when they take applications. So we take applications once a year. So I went down there. I waited until January. Went down there, got an application, filled it out on the spot. You don't take it home or nothing. You fill it out right there. I had also brought a resume, and I had brought a couple of my welding certs, copies of them. And you got to bring a copy of your either your GED or high school diploma. I got my GED when I was locked up as a juvenile. I got my GED when I was like 15, so I had to get a copy of that. And I think that's pretty much it. So you fill all that out, turn it in. So then once you get your application in, I don't remember exactly how long it took, but they'll end up sending you a letter. I think it's a month or two later. You'll get a letter in the mail. Or maybe it was. I think it was in March. They send you a letter, and it'll give you a time and a date for your interview. So now when you go in for your interview, for us, we go in front of the JATC training commission. So what that consists of is people from our local, contractors from different, like they have a board. So it's made up of contractors and union members, so that the contractors have a say in our training too. Like whatever the contractors say that they want, they work to try to get it so that we have the qualifications and skills that they feel are going to be necessary for their jobs. So you go in front of a board of 5 people, I did, and they just asked me a bunch of questions. Not really no way to really tell you what they're going to ask, because they asked a lot of different weird stuff. Like, what would you do if your foreman had a bad attitude one day and snapped at you, or how would you react to that? Like, I don't know. I think they're just kind of trying to get a feel for how you're going to be as a worker, and if you're going to be somebody that's going to be able to make it through the program. And then they ask you like what your goals are, where you see yourself in 5 years. And are you willing to take a pay cut and this and that? And it was just a lot of questions kind of trying to fill you out. And then they kind of asked for your experience. What's a big project that you've completed that you're proud of? That's what they asked me. So I interviewed twice. Did I? Yeah, I interviewed twice because I didn't get in the first time I applied. So then after that, after your interview, you leave, and then you'll end up, I think a month later, you'll end up getting a letter in the mail, and for us, it'll be a rating. So they'll give you a number of where you're rated based on your performance in the interview. And it was like, I think there's like 100 and usually like 160, 170 people apply a year. And what I'd always been told, because I got a couple buddies that were already in there, is that they usually only take like 25 people a year. It just depends on the amount of work that we have, the amount of people that are retiring. Like, they don't want to have everybody come in and not have work for them. They don't want people sitting on the bench. They only want to take enough people that we can actually have the work for to keep everybody working. So 25 is about what they take. So the first year I applied, I think I ranked like 42 or something like that, which to me, I was mad about it because I was like, man, I got all this welding experience. I got mechanical background. Like, I should be way better than that. So 42, I didn't get in. So I came back next year. I had to wait a whole nother year. Came back next year, applied again. And this time I had made some changes in my work. I had went from just welding. I had took a job somewhere else at Minneapolis Oxygen, which is like they supply parts and they also have a welder service repair there. I went there thinking that maybe I'd be able to get some different experience that would make me a better candidate to get in. So I got certified from Miller and Lincoln on how to repair welders, which was kind of cool because they sent me out to Cleveland and paid for it. Sent me out to Wisconsin, paid for that, so we get training for a week. So that year I ended up ranking 12, so I ended up getting in. So that was kind of the process. So then once you get your ranking, you know where you're at, then you kind of just wait for them to call you, because they'll call as they come up with jobs. Sometimes you can get in early as a pre-apprentice if they have like jobs, or you can even call different contractors if you know different contractors and see if they have work. If you can come in as a pre-apprentice or a helper, you can even do the helper. I don't know, people have done it. I don't know how to do it because I didn't go that route, but I know that there's people that are helpers that if they do apply, they usually get preferential treatment to get in because they already have a little bit of experience as a helper. But the helpers usually don't make that much money. Pre-apprentice wage was like, when I went in there to go get my first assignment, because I had ended up calling the training coordinator, like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm ranked 12. Like, what's up? You guys gonna have me working soon? Because I was still working at Minneapolis Oxygen. And then when they finally did call me in, he's like, okay, yeah, well, you'll start out pre-apprentice wage is like, at that time it was like 21. I'm like, I can't do that. I say, I'm not gonna be able to make it. Like, I'm making over $30 an hour right now, like $21. Like, I'm gonna lose my house, I'm gonna lose my car. So he said he would go talk to a contractor and see if they'd hire me on his first year rate, because I think you start out as a pre-apprentice for like the first month or two until school starts up, depending on when you start. Like, if you was one of the last guys to get a job, like you might be starting right away when school starts. But anyway, so that's how it worked out for me. I started out getting first year wages, and from there it's just off to the races, man. And then it's just, for us, we have school 1 month or 1 week a month. That's what we do for our schooling, and you don't get paid for that, but they say they adjusted our wages to make up for it, so it's about the same as when people had night school. But I don't know if I believe that. It is what it is. But I'm going to tell you, for some guys that are like, there's a lot of young guys in my class, for them, it was fine. It was good money. For me, I was a little bit older, so it was a big pay cut for me to start out. But I knew in the long run it was going to pay off, because at Minneapolis Oxygen, they was trying to cap me at like 30-something an hour. And I'm like, man, I know I can do better than that. Like, why would I limit myself to 30-something an hour? And it was the right move, because now I'm a third year, but I'm making fourth year pay. I'm making way more than 30 an hour already. Plus I got raises coming. So I think I'll cap out. Journeyman rate right now is like, I think 54 or 55 an hour on the check, plus your vacation time, plus all your benefits and your 2 pensions. So it ends up, journeyman make about $100 an hour, their total package. So I don't know if that answers anybody's questions about the process, but that's what the process was for me. really, that's the only thing I can speak to. So I feel like it's probably a real boring video, but I just like answering questions, man. Like, if y'all got questions about things, like, I know I kind of get rambling sometimes, so I don't know that I necessarily make clear and concise points. But if you guys have questions, if there's anything I can do, like, my end of the day, my goal is just to see people succeed, man. And the trades is definitely a good way to go. I'm a pipe fitter, I'm biased, so for me, pipe fitter's the king of trades. I would suggest you guys look into it, but like I said, every local is going to be different. Different states are going to be different. I don't know what they're teaching anybody anywhere else. I know they're not teaching them as much as up here, and unfortunately, all y'all can't come up to Minnesota and be pipe fitters. So I mean, I wish that was true. It'd be good to see a bunch of good people that want to work making good money, but any day, I'm pretty big proponent that any union trade that you're gonna get into, you're gonna be in a better situation than not. I'm always tripped out, man. Like, when I go to the gas station or something, and I ain't trying to hate on nobody working no other jobs. Like, I get it, but it's like when you're a grown man and you're working at a gas station, or you're an adult and you're working at fast food, and then I see people complaining, saying that these jobs, they need to pay these people more, and I get it. Like, everybody want to make good money, but at the end of the day, man, you're flipping burgers. Like, that's not a skill that's gonna value more. You're not gonna get more money for doing that. Or even Starbucks. Like, I heard that Starbucks unionized, but it's like, man, you're doing a job that you don't really need no extra education. And at the end of the day, what's gonna bring you the money is having a skill that people really need, man. And the more skill you can add to it, I'm not knocking anybody. Everybody got to work. Everybody got to do what they got to do, man. Everybody got different situations, but you need to make yourself more valuable if you want to make more money. And just flipping burgers, that's not a skill that's gonna get you further in life. Doesn't matter what the minimum wage is. It doesn't matter what you think the companies or the corporations are paying their employees. Like, at the end of the day, you're in charge of yourself, man. You gotta add value by gaining skills that are marketable, and that's all it is. And so when you join the trades, that's what they're giving you. That's what the union is going to give you, is that they're going to teach you, they're going to give you the skills to make yourself more marketable, and they're going to help keep you employed by making sure you're up to date and at the top of your game. So I don't know, that's my word. Hopefully it's not a super boring video. Please like, subscribe, share it. Let's get this page popping. Hope everybody has a good day. Oh yeah, that's right. It's looking like we're about to get 4 to 6 inches of snow tonight up here in Minnesota. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I got a Jag in the garage. I'm gonna have to leave this out here. Maybe I'll throw a car cover over the bends in the driveway, and then I'm gonna have to bust out that snowblower. So hopefully y'all ain't gotta deal with that, man. Have a good day.